can start whenever you're ready.
Just start right now. It's just us for right now.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Welcome everyone. Happy Sunday and happy spring. I'm really excited here to introduce to you these wonderful mothers that we have on the panel today. I'm very fortunate to have met these mothers, and now just super more than honored to have them speak for us here on this panel and share with you their experience. So without further ado, let's get started because I can't wait for you to hear about their stories, hear about their experiences, and hear more about what they have to share. So I do have a few questions that I want to pose to them. My first question is, um, as you are also women in finance fields, what kind of financial plan do you have for your children? First, I would like to have Chen Ping speak. Chen Ping Wu, who is a young mother of two and an amazing leader in business. She's someone I truly look up to and admire. I followed her for a lot of things, go to her for a lot of advice. And what she has to share with you here right now is something I've actually personally taken notes from. And I'm sure you will all want to do that as well. So gather your notepads and get ready. Chen Ping, take it away, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Xiaojing, for the wonderful introduction. Welcome all the ladies who are coming online or are on the line. I'm excited to share with you a little bit about what I think about, women and wealth, right? So hopefully what I share with you can give you guys some insights. First thing is that I do want to share with you a little bit, personally, my story. My name is Chen Ping. My background was in psychology and neuroscience. Actually, I never thought I'll be in the industry. Financial industry. I'm grateful for a friend of mine from college who invited me one day, asked me if I want to do business or if I want to learn. And I was open-minded. So anyways, through many attempts of inviting, I got started. And very fortunate because of the platform that I was able to get started with. I started out part-time, not having any background, especially being introverted with my background in psychology and neuroscience. I didn't do well with communicating with people in the very beginning, but very fortunately, I learned some of these skills and got better and learned a lot of some financial knowledge so I could get better with my own finances. And I realized there's so many people out there who needs this information, right? So here I'd like to share with you a little bit about who we are, what we do. We are a broker dealer, World Financial Group. We don't work with just one company. We actually work with many companies, and that creates a strength in what we do, because when we get the chance to talk to people, we get to find out what is most suitable, right? We get to compare, we get to compete for different companies to find what is the solution that's most ideal. And as you see, we probably have many different companies, many different products that is available, which we'll talk a little bit more. And hopefully I really do give you guys some insights. But before I get started, I also want to share with you a little bit about what we think about how money works. I know that if I were, I've asked so many families, so many individuals, hey, do you know how money works? A lot of times they were like, no, I don't know. Or some of them will be like, can you elaborate on that? And I'm like, okay, well, if you want to learn how money works, you got to know how hard is your money working for you. Do you want to work for money, or you actually want to work for money, right? So here's a perfect example here saying that Rule 72. This is actually a formula derived by Albert Einstein. And he says that, Chen Ping, take the number 72, divide by the rate of return that you're going to get. Approximately, that's how many years it takes for your money to double once. Well, do the math. Magically, you have, say example, you're 29 years old. Imagine you're 29 years old. You have that $10,000. For that $10,000 to grow to $20,000, right? If you find an account that gives you 4% return, 72 divided by 4%, every 18 years, your money is going to double. So you're talking about, 29 plus 18, you'll be 47 years old, right? Another 18 years later, with another double, you're going to have 40,000. How would you like to have 40,000 when you started out with 10,000 36 years ago, Is that good? Well, some says it's good and some says it's not as good, right? It really depends. If I'm talking to someone who never have earned anything close to 4%, of course that person would be telling me it's amazing, right? If I'm talking to someone who has been doing well and they're like, oh, you're just earning 4%. So this is definitely perspective, and we're definitely hoping to, open up your eyes and at the same time start to think that, you know what, there are good returns. I remember 10 years ago, before getting started with World Financial Group, I was clueless. I went to bank, asked for financial solution. I was working, making money. I want to save my money. I want to grow my money somehow, some way. And all the bank had ever offered me was a CD account. You know what a CD account it really is? It's really the modern world money under your mattress. And it's exposed. You tell people how much money is under your mattress, right? So personally, I didn't know much and I was young and I'm like, okay, let's get started. Imagine someone who wants to save money, but that's all your resource. That's all the resources you're going to get, right? I'm grateful for that opportunity where we are able to learn and diversify our portfolio. Now, how would you like to have your money grow at a 6% return, for example, right? You have your money in an account and, it could grow like 6%, right? Same thing, 29 years old, you have 10,000. Every 12 years, your money's going to double because we take number 72, divide by 6%. Every 12 years, your money's going to double, right? So 1 double, 2 double, 3 double, right? So instead of having 40,000, you're getting 80,000 just with 2% a little bit more, right? Just 2% more, you're going to get extra double. And at the end, it's all about the doubles that you're getting. How much time you have and how much doubles you're getting, right? The sooner you are, the younger you are, the faster you're going to double, right? 8%, same thing. 72 divided by 9 years, 8%, every 9 years your money's going to double. So you're talking about 29, you have 10,000, 9 plus 9, 38 years old, 20,000, right? 65 years old, you're at 160,000, right? How awesome is that? You start out with just 29 years old and you have 10,000, your money grow and compound. That's called money working for you, right? And then we're talking about, what if you could find an account that gives you 12%? Wouldn't that be great? Absolutely, right? Actually, it was really exciting because I'm able to see some of the returns from my own personal portfolio and it's looking good. It looks great, actually, right? So if we do 72 divided by 12%, every 6 years, your money's going to double. 29 years old, 10,000, right? 6 years later, you're 35 years old. So much faster. Higher returns means more doubles. And the name of the game is really how many doubles are you having? Now imagine, and some of the people ask Champagne, why did you get started so early with your kids? I have 2 young children, right? I have a son who's 3 years old, and I also have a daughter who's approaching 2 years old. How come and why did I start financial plans with them since they were 15 days old? When they could start a financial strategy, I started immediately. Why? Because I understand the time game. We have no time to lose, right? So it's great. Not only that, we have been seeing amazing returns. Imagine a 2-year-old having amazing returns on their money, right? So are you having your money working for you or you're working for your money, right? Along with that, we all understand, most people are thinking, okay, growing my money. Well, also, where do you put it? Some people say, hey, is it the stock market? Do I just throw my money in the stock market? Possibility, right? Well, if we really look at the returns from like 1996, this is the S&P 500, top 500 companies in America, right? So we're talking about, money can go up and down, right? We all understand the market goes up and down. Isn't that right? So we all understand, like say example, for longest time, if you really look at the returns for longest time, the trend has been going up, right? The market has been going up. And we knew, many people knew there is going to be a correction. Last year, a lot of people hit hard with their finances, right? It was hard. I remember a lot of people were telling us that, they had like 100,000. Beginning of February, end of February, they were down like only 65,000, for example, right? That was very short amount of time. Of course, we recovered, but being, being a decade plus of high returns, what do you think the market is really going to be doing? We're probably expecting some kind of, correction that's coming. Is it gonna be a fast recovery? We have no idea. The scariest part is that, this time with COVID-19, we saw a sharp drop right here, and we saw a sharp recovery right here. But the question is that, is it going to be a sharp drop for a long time and recovery fast, or what is it? Because if you really look at here, this is a really a lost decade, right? When 9/11 hit in 2008, housing bubble hit, people lost their money. They weren't able to recover their money for more than a decade, right? Imagine being, 20 or 30 or 40 years old. How many decades do you have in your lifetime for your money to recover? That's exactly what the market showed us, right? So having your money in a right portfolio also means a lot of things, right? Are you diversifying your portfolio, right? So that's one. Now I'd like to share with you a little bit about taxes, because I believe that many of you guys are I'm not exactly sure if you guys are aware there are diversification of taxes too. I knew that before coming to World Financial Group. I had no idea that you mean you could actually put your money in different tax portfolios. I had no idea. But real quick, let's go over some of these accounts so we have some idea, how are they being taxed. Remember earlier I shared with you that in the very beginning I went to get a CD account. My goodness, guys, it's taxed yearly. I had no idea we were taxed yearly. So it wasn't a good return account, it was also not the best tax account, because all my earnings I'm getting taxed. Well, I didn't know. Someone told me, I got it, right? I'm so fortunate and grateful that I got started in financial industry, because I get to learn more for myself, for my own personal financial portfolio. And voila, we're in here for 10 years, and we'll get to share and educate families about this, right? But what does it mean to be taxed yearly? It means the money you put in, anytime you earn money, you're going to get a 1099-R, right? You're going to get a 1099 account, right? You're going to get anything from pretty much a 1099 saying that you have made money. You have to pay your taxes, right? So these are accounts that actually you have to pay taxes every year. And then some of you guys are probably aware of is that the tax later accounts. What does that mean? It's probably your 401k, 403b, your IRAs, your annuities. What does it mean? Well, it says that pretty much the money you put in now, you don't have to pay taxes. You actually have to pay taxes later until you're like 59 and a half when you actually take the money out, right? Well, in the very beginning, all this money is tax deferred. You don't have to pay any money. How awesome is that? That sounds great and exciting, right? Absolutely. It's definitely far better than this one over here, right? I'm getting a tax cut. Sounds exciting. And some of you guys who have a 401k, you're getting a free match up money from your employer. Heck yeah, I'm so down for free money. Well, here's a question. Do you really like the idea that, the money that you put in, it grow and compound and grow and compound, you don't have to pay taxes, but eventually you have to pay tax. And when you do take money out, you're going to be paying tax. And do you think that taxes are going to go up or they're going to go down? We have went through a time where we were all-time low in tax bracket. We just went through a pandemic where I'm assuming we went through a pandemic. Everything seems we're recovery now, right? And yet I'm noticing that there are a lot of tax changes that require us to pay more. How much more? And how many years of long-term higher taxes? We don't know. That uncertainty is a question. I'm saving money at a lower tax rate return right now. Eventually, I'm going to get taxed more. Let's talk about it. Do you want money to work for you, or you want to have money working for you? In this account, it just sounds like I'm working for Uncle Sam. It just sounds like, yes, I like the idea that my money's growing working for you, but at the end of the day, Uncle Sam is also benefiting as much as I do. I don't know. If there is no better account out there, I would say, yeah, it's a good option. But did you know that the IRS, Uncle Sam, actually gave you other options? He says that you could start out with something like tax-free, where you pay your taxes now. Forever, the money that grows is going to be tax-free. All the earnings going to be tax-free, right? We're talking about the money that is in your account that's tax-free. What are they? Some of them are your Roth IRAs. You know, some of them are your 529 plans and 7702. I surely can tell you not as many options, right? Roth IRA, you still have to use, you still have to wait until 59 and a half, right? Your Roth IRAs, the money that you put in grow, you don't have to pay taxes, right? It grows. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, your Roth IRA still have that, retirement restriction. I don't know. I mean, I love the idea that, you know, I get to save my money, but I would love to have a little bit more of flexibility of using my money, right? I am 29 years old right now. I love the fact that I have so much accessible money. I don't have to be 59 and a half for. Some of you guys are curious what that is. I would love to tell you in a bit. And then we talk about 529 plans. Sounds like a great idea too. Money you put in is tax-free and it's for college, for your kids to go to school, education. Sounds great, right? Absolutely. Well, just as good as it says, it's good for education. It's only for education. Well, what if my kids decide to be entrepreneurs like me? What if my kids are super smart and they don't need to get, they don't need financial aid, or they already have financial package, like an academic one. I hope that is the case, right? I mean, my son is 3 years old. He's learning about, you know, fossils, dinosaurs, and, intestines, all that. I think he's going to be, maybe, I don't know, right? But that is the restriction. It's only for education purpose. I'm hoping he's going to become entrepreneur too. Maybe he doesn't even need that funds, right? And then we're talking about 7702. How would you like to also learn about something that's 7702, where it could possibly, you have earlier access. Remember we talked about earlier access to money before 59 half? That is something you could do. And I started 10 years ago. I love it, right? Not only that, how would you like to have access to the money that you put in there as cash? That's exactly what I did, right? I'm so grateful and blessed that we started with, good financial planning, and so much better than what the bank had offered. I asked the bank, they only said, why don't you start with this? No education, never share with me what is better. So I really hope that, we could help you with some of that. If you guys want to learn a little bit more, absolutely, I would love to tell you the details. So let's talk about what are some financial strategies that's available in the industry, because a lot of people don't know about that. I surely appreciate this chart, because if I had an opportunity to learn about this, I wish I wish I knew very early. So there are so many accounts. There is, there's that UTM account, right? There's mutual funds. Some of you guys asked, what is mutual funds, right? It's like, if besides the financial terminologies, it's really mutual fund. Friends come together to have mutual fund. That is really what mutual funds are. Yeah. No, it's actually, it's not necessarily, it's a bunch of stocks together, really. That's kind of what it is, right? 401ks, 403bs, it's, another one of those strategies where you could have different strategies inside. The biggest difference is that the tax benefits that we just talked about. This is a tax deferred account. So we're going to go through this list, assuming you have some good eye coordination, color coordination, right? Green means it's most part green means what? It's good to go, right? And then blue means maybe it is not as favorable, right? So look at this, right? Let's say we were talking about limitation on contribution. These accounts doesn't really have, limitation on contribution, but we all understand when the IRS have limitation on a strategy, it probably means that it's really good, right? And then some of you guys are saying, oh, if that was the case, are these accounts really good too? Well, yeah, it really depends on what is it that you have. Some of them are really good as well, right? I love the fact that, remember we talked about why it makes a lot of sense to do something like a 401k and 403b, because there's something called contribution match from your employer, right? You're getting free money and all the other ones don't have it. That's why, there is a sense of priority. If you are offered free money, go for it. It doesn't even matter about the tax. We don't even care about the tax differences, or, that's something you don't want to even think about, right? Safety of investment. Earlier, we just had a little bit of conversation about, You know, what do you think the market is going to go? Where do you think the market is going to go? And also taxes, right? So safety investments, if you're having your money in a UTM account, you know, you have a little bit more safety, right? Mutual funds, 401ks, IRAs, all of these don't really have safety. It's really participation of these different strategies. If market goes up, you go up with it. If the market goes down, you go down with it, right? And then we have some of you guys are like, you know, we just went an all-time high. What if the market dropped? Wouldn't you appreciate safety a little bit more, right? And that's where, if you are looking for investments that will give you a little bit more strategy safety, definitely take a look into the equity index annuity and also a index universal life that we're talking about. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it later, right? Growth potential, right? You see right here, this is a very, it doesn't grow much. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about, that CD, right? And then we're talking about mutual funds. It has growth potential, high risk, high gain. I mean, high risk and high gains and high risk, right? So a lot of times people think about high risk, right? Well, be prepared. Sometimes personally, I also invest on an individual side, like where I don't really have that shelter of that safety. I love this safety part because a lot of the money I have in my safety accounts where I have growth potential too, I don't have to think about it. But this one, I do it too. Sometimes I just don't have the heart attack for it. I mean, I just don't have the heart for it. I feel like any moment could be a heart attack moment, right? 401k, 403b, depending on how you're structuring it, it may have good potential, right? And then here we're talking about, yes, the growth potential. Actually, nowadays there's actually strategies that's called uncapped strategies. Recently, our family, we just started another strategy with uncapped strategy. Really excited to be able to participate in it, right? Where you have safety and you have upside growth potential. That is really awesome, right? So if I'm not going to spend all the time to go over it, I just want to emphasize on a few points. If some of you guys are really interested, definitely learn about it. If I were you, screenshot this, right? But we talked about, growth. We talked about safety. Let's talk about the tax part, right? We all understand the 401ks. This is the one that's actually pre-tax contribution. These two don't really have tax deferred growth. Everything else has tax deferred growth. But what about tax advantage distribution? Meaning that when you take the money out, it's going to be tax free. So there you go. Not many options, only these two. And you guys probably want to really take a good look at some accounts that has tax-free distributions. So these are some strategies. Like I said, I'm really grateful that we were offered this opportunity to learn about this. Personally, if I haven't had that chance to learn about it, I probably would still have my money in my CD account. So it's definitely life-changing, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be in this industry, right? Along with that, just share a little bit, about my own story. It's exciting because, hey, I met my husband in business as well, right? So it's been a fun journey for me. Thank you, Xiaojing, for asking that question. I hope we're able to give some insights. I'm going to throw the mic back at you.
Thank you so much, Champing, for sharing. Your story is really amazing. And everything she shared, I personally took notes for myself because these information, it's really basic information that you need throughout your journey in life, right? So next, I want to bring up another amazing mother, and I've known her. This mother is amazing since I've known her. And by this, I'm talking about decades because she, as much as a sister she's been for me, she's also practically my second mom, right? So this is Fenmei Wu. She is a mom of a beautiful daughter, Jovi, and she has another on the way. What she has to share with you just goes to show how thorough she is with her love towards her babies. Without further ado, Fenmei, this is your stage.
Thank you, Xiaojing, for introducing Champagne did a wonderful job on sharing financial concept and financial education with everyone. So she touched base on the Index Universal Life, the IUL, right? So I want to go over that a little bit because of the same information that was taught to her. It was also taught to me back in 2012. That is almost, actually, it's been 9 years now. Surprisingly, time go by really fast, okay? And I wanted to share with you guys how this has been so impactful for myself, my family, and what it has done for us. So everyone can see, right? Give me a thumbs up. All right. So of course, before I became a mom, I don't really think about planning for the next generation, right? My background, I was in dental hygiene, I was in healthcare. I was afraid of health hazard from work, right? So one of the things that I was afraid of is, what if something happens to me while I'm at my job in a dental field? Not that it's very dangerous, but things can happen, right? So when I was shared with the financial education, the Rule 72, right away, I knew that I wanted to get a life insurance. I wanted to protect my parents because at that time I was single. And the other thing that really caught my interest is the growth potential. Champagne really emphasized about how it has positive gains, no downside. It doesn't have any downside returns. It protect me from the down markets, right? So I started a policy. If you look at here, this one is actually opened in 2016. I have another one opened in 2012. But since I have this pulled up, I want to share with you guys that I have $1 million policy, and this has 21,000 cash value. Okay, if something were to happen to me, God forbid, if I live too short, with what's going on, COVID, anything can happen. Not even talking about COVID, health can happen. It's really sad, but this year I have lost a couple people that are dear to me, right? So having protection is really important in the beginning for my parents. But now that I have my daughter Jovi, it's really important that I make sure if something were to happen to me, it gives her something for her future. Her college is secured, her, everything for her secured, right? It's a stepping stone. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is, besides that I make sure I have life insurance, I also started a plan for Jovi after she was born. Before she turned 1 year old, right, I started if you look here, it says zero age. Zero age, right? I started a $500,000 policy, IUL also, Index Universal Life, where it's saving $166 a month. Doesn't break an arm or a leg on me, right? But it does do so much for her, okay? So in the US, they say that it's the father's job to throw a wedding for the daughter. I don't know if that's true, but I want to do that for my daughter, right? I want to do that. So if you look at here, let me draw this. By the time she's in her 30s, right? If she gets married around that time, she'll have approximately $100,000 cash value. This can be used. We can borrow it out. It can be used for a wedding, right? or if if she has the wedding taken care of, she could use that for a down payment for a home, right? The housing market is going up like crazy. It's inflation is going up like crazy. We really need to have money work for us so that it works for them, and we have to start young, right? So let me share with you what happens if she's smart, she's great with money, she doesn't need me to throw her a wedding, she got it with her husband, right? Then let's talk about her retirement, right? Let me redraw this. Let's say in her retirement years, 65 or 66, right? This 166 a month policy for a $500,000, it grows with 7.39 interest. It grows to 1.7 million cash. This is liquid, okay? And on top of it, this is tax exempt, tax deferred. It grows tax deferred. How cool is that? I am transferring this wealth to her without having to pay taxation. Do you guys hear me? Moms out there, if you want to do something for your kids, this is a great plan to start, and start as soon as possible, as early as possible, right? So my sister Xiao Jing mentioned that I have another one on the way, right? Well, after my second child, I don't know the gender yet, but I'm excited to know. Once the next baby comes, I'm gonna get another policy like this, right? Because it's exciting to see how how much growth I can have for them right after they come to this world, and it gives them a boost. As a minority, as someone who is an immigrant to the U.S., we have big dream, and we have to really work it to make it happen, and especially for the children to come in the future, right? So this is all that I want to share about financial planning for my children. Okay, so I will turn the mic back to Xiao Jing. Thank you.
Thank you, Fei. That's a wonderful presentation, and I love that you're already so excited and so prepared for your next baby. Now, I do want to move on to our next question, and this is to all the mothers. Like, you're juggling between business and family. How do you do it? I'm just so curious, right? So I want to introduce and bring up Honey White, who is a hardworking mother of 3. She has a son who's like in 20s, and then she still has 2 kids who are so young, so lively and energetic. Recently, she's even hit a new milestone and became promoted to senior associate. So I just really want to know, how did you achieve all of these successes?
Xiaojing, thank you so much for opportunity to share. I am actually excited that you share with everybody that I hit my senior associate level. It's been long due, and it's a matter of focus, right? It's a matter of kind of like really just do what I gotta do, and it is pretty much a blessing that we are in the pandemic right now, because both my kids are in home doing school, right? Back then, every morning I need to get them ready, take them to school, or if not, I need to take them to the bus stop and then pick them up again from the bus stop. A lot of time missing just by running around, right? Just like basically get into the car, driving here, driving there, and suddenly 2 or 3 hours a day gone, right? So I feel blessed that by now I could use those 2 or 3 hours a day focusing to my business. and also save a lot of energy. I'm not only saying that my energy, because I really want to start getting back to my weight back before I give birth to my 3 kids, but the energy of gasoline, the energy of things that it's not quite necessary, right? So as I mentioned, this business is amazing. We are in the financial business and we pivoting, right? We're not only depending on traditional way how to run the business, need to be face to face, but now we are on Zoom, we are on technology, we could meet people anywhere in the world, anywhere in the United States by clicking of a button. And I'm blessed that I'm at this industry, in this business, especially with WFG, that really not only flexible but also really using technology as part of our business. Thank you, Sarjang.
Thank you, Hani. Thank you for sharing. And again, the way that you do it is just amazing, right? Now I want to bring up Champing again. I know I've introduced her before, but as long as she's been in the industry for longer than I can remember. And her transition to motherhood was just something so just not ignorable. She was so phenomenon, and I definitely want her to share with you. So take away, Champing. How did you juggle it?
Oh, thank you, Xiaojing, for bringing me back and asking that question. Oh my goodness. I would say, it's amazing. Well, when you ask that question, I think it's really, I'm really grateful that I had amazing support. I had my mother-in-law who was a fully support of me when I gave birth to my kids, and then actually, one thing I do want to say is that I'm pretty lucky that I started the business very, very early on. So it's life changing for me. I mean, I love the fact that my son was born November 2017. That month when I was away from maternity leave, my company was able to pay me more than $22,000 in put into my bank account. Right, that was huge difference. Right, that moment where I'm spending quality time with my son. And it was like, you know what, so worth it. Why did I work? All the objections I had, or all the early mornings, all the late nights, was all worth it for that moment where I'm there for my kids. And then when that money came, it just said, hey, we were able to build a strong, solid business where income was going to be able to come in regardless I'm there or not. So that was huge for me. And I'm grateful for the support. Because of the support, we were able to continue to grow our business, and it's been phenomenal. So that's something I just want to share. I am definitely lucky, but at the same time, if I were to share an advice, I would just say, if you dare to think of it, you can achieve it, right? So if you believe that you're going to have balance, absolutely you're going to have balance, even though asking for balance is not necessary. Right. So personally, I'm grateful, and I know that I work on that balance, and we do have it. Right. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Champing. And now I want to bring up the next sister. And so this bringing up May again, just to say, because she actually recently moved to Delaware, and for a long time we've been working in Pennsylvania. So I definitely want to hear from her, how did you manage everything? Just everything with the move, and then now working, during the pandemic as well.
Thank you, Xiao Jing, for asking this question. If you didn't mention about my move, I wouldn't remember how I struggled. Actually, I moved to Delaware October 2019. It was not an easy move with a young daughter. She was 6 months at that time, and our house and our office was about an hour away. So every day we would drive 2 hours on the road, going to the office and coming back. Of course, family, they're all in Philadelphia too. It was a huge struggle, actually. it was not easy. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm a terrible mom because I make her go through that. But you know, she's so young and she adapts to the environment really easily. So I know she doesn't remember it at all, but it was pretty tough for us. I'm actually really, no, I cannot say this. Um, COVID was a blessing in disguise. COVID was a blessing in disguise. You'll be shocked, but I almost sell my brand new, uh, you know, constructed home to move back to Philadelphia. I almost did that. So because of COVID, we are able to work from home. I get to spend more time with her, less time on the road. I really like how I was able to manage working with people between the hours that she was sleeping, napping. I was able to do a lot. 2020 was actually a great year for my business. Thank you, Xiaojing. You can have the mic back.
Thank you, Femme. I'm so excited for you about that as well. And I'm super excited for the next baby who's coming. Now, with on that note, the next person I want to introduce to you is someone just really amazing, truly amazing. And the reason why I'm so excited to bring this person up is because she's actually she's actually our newest mother on this panel list. And she's a mother to a beautiful baby. But despite that, she's not the least experienced. I would never say she's least experienced. She's had so much experience with the other babies prior, right? Because we were all in this organization together for so long. And she's one of our youngest marketing directors who's achieved a lot of things that, you know, not a lot of people her age can, right? So now, I want you to share with us, what are some things that you recommend, some fields that you recommend for people to go into as mom?
Thank you, Xiaojing, for that awesome introduction. Yes, I'm a new mom. I just gave birth, I would say a little bit over a month ago. So it's great to be back to work. I would say that it was a nice break getting to know our baby, but I do miss working and, you know, being around people, right? So if to answer your question, the best field is, of course, to work for yourself. What better occupation than to work for yourself as an entrepreneur, business owner, and especially in the financial industry. So to share with you a little bit about what I've been through in the last few years, last 1 or 2 years, our family has gone through a couple of milestones. I would say that most milestone that people would go through, I've gone through them in the last 1 or 2 years. You know, 2 years ago, we bought our house. You know, last year me and my husband, we got married, and of course, you know, just last month we had our first baby. So, you know, all three of that happened in such a short amount of time. And with these milestones, you definitely have to adjust. But being in business, I was definitely able to do that very easily. And at the same time, with these milestones, one thing that we have to prepare for is finance. And since I'm already in the financial industry, what better, you know, place to learn and use that knowledge than to help that to prepare for our family and, you know, with our financial planning, right? So that really helped us a lot with our milestones. Right now, before I move forward, I definitely want to share a little bit about, you know, what made me decide to go into business and especially finance. So how many of us have read this book? It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you guys are a business major or study business in college, this is actually one of the most recommended business book to read. So in that book, Robert Kiyosaki goes over what we call the cash flow quadrant. And what it explains is that, where do we earn our money? How do people make a living? There's actually 4 ways that you can make a living or earn income. The first way is what we call as an employee. So as an employee, you're trading your time for money, right? So you would consider this your 9 to 5. You know, you go to work from 9 a.m. and you come home at 5 a.m. 5 p.m. My God, 5 p.m. Anyway, so that would be the majority of people. They would be employees, right? However, as an employee, I would say it's difficult to grow yourself. Most employee or professionals that I know, they experience what we call a glass ceiling where you could be the senior engineer, you could be a manager, you could be the top salesperson in a job. However, you're going to hit that glass ceiling where you're not going to be able to grow more than what your supervisor or your company is going to allow you to. So in terms of growth, there's limitations as an employee. Now from there you move on to the second quadrant, which is as a self-employee. So most people would think that this is business owners, but actually this is different. Self-employed people would be what you call your doctors, your lawyers. They trade their time for money also as an employee or like an employee. However, they work for themselves, so they have more flexibility in time. But the thing is, they only have themselves to depend on. As a doctor, if the doctor is not at his practice, or if a doctor doesn't see patients, then he's not going to earn an income. Or if, as a lawyer, if you don't have clients and you're not talking to somebody, then you're not going to get paid, right? So even though you're able to control more of your time, but there's still limitation, because how many hours can you really work a day without any rest? Even as a human, you need to have 6 to 8 hours of sleep in order for you to function properly, right? So, as a self-employed person, there's really limitation, because as a human, and if you're working by yourself, there's not much room to grow either. And plus, you might be making a lot of money, but you might not have enough time, right? Especially if you're growing your family, you definitely want to have quality time with your family, right? So when I look at an employee and a self-employed person, I don't really see myself there, because that's not really the life that I want. And of course, I really want to grow myself. And that's why we have people on the right side. So on the right side, what are those people? Well, we have business owners. So people who own businesses, and these are different from self-employed person, because a true business owner, they have people working with them, right? They have a team of people. So, let's say if that business owner is not there, the business is still able to function 100% without that owner, right? Just like how Bill Gates doesn't have to go into Microsoft every single day, but Microsoft is still able to run independently without him, right? And then aside from that, we also have investors. So people who use money to make more money, and that's how they make a living. So between the left side as an employee and self-employed person, and the right side, which is business owner and investors, I would rather want to be in the right side, right? But for the right side, there's only 10% of the population, but they control 90% of the wealth, right? Because there's still more potential, and there's much more you can do as a business owner, and with finance as well. So as that's what we are, right? If you guys haven't figured it out already, most of the people on this panel, we're business owners, and at the same time, we are working in the financial industry, right? So we're really able to maximize our potential and our earnings in, this field. So, that's really awesome. But aside from that, there's a saying: if you want to be successful, if you want to be successful, you got to make sure that your ladder is leaning on the right building, right? So there's no better place to work at than in our company, which is Transamerica Financial, right? And I am so proud to say that Transamerica Financial, we are the top broker dealer in terms of female representative for the 7th year in a row. So that means that, for 7 years, we have produced and trained the most female representative in this field. And that says a lot. Why? Because when you think about the financial industry, who are they dominated by? They're dominated by white Caucasian men, right? And look at the panelists today. Most of us are not white, we're not Caucasian, and of course we're not men, right? Of course we're more diverse than just this, but within our culture we have different diversities. I'm Vietnamese, we have Chinese, we have Indonesian, so definitely various Asians in this panelist, but definitely not what we would find in a traditional financial industry, right? And why is it that we want to work with a company like this? Well, I want to work with a company like this. Well, first of all, there's the mentor culture, right? Earlier, Xiaojing says that even though I'm a new mom, it doesn't mean that I'm less experienced. I am less experienced, but I definitely learned from all of our mentors on this panelist, because I'm the youngest mom, but all of the moms here, I've been learning from them for, years already. So definitely I have prepared myself for when I do have a baby, right? But same thing goes with business. In our business, when you come in, you have a mentor that is able to help you, walk you through the ropes. And so it seems like you're new, but definitely not inexperienced, because you're borrowing experience from other people in the industry for a long time already, right? And next is equal compensation, right? We hear a lot about the income inequality between men and women, right, in all fields. But in our industry, we are business owners, and of course we're in sales, which is the highest paid job out there. You are paid based off how much you work. There's no other way to quantify that, but if you work hard, you're going to get paid. Yeah, you can really beat out the male counterparts out there, right? So, that's really awesome, because you see a lot of, inequality out there, especially against Asians. But in our company, we don't deal with any of that. Why? Because it's such a fair playing field in our company, right? And last but not least, which is the lifestyle flexibility, right? It's so awesome to be able to transition into motherhood, but not having to feel like I sacrifice anything for my baby. Because for me and my husband, we actually work in the same industry. So we just take turns. Whenever I'm busy with working, my husband actually steps in to take care of our daughter, Ivy, and then vice versa. So I never feel like I have to sacrifice anything in terms of the flexibility with what's going on. You really create the life that you want, right? I think that is such a great industry, and I encourage more people to look into it. All right, so I think my time is up. I'm actually going to pass it back over to Xiaojing.
Thank you, Mai. Yes, it definitely, from your presentation, what you shared, it gives a lot of power to women and mothers in this business. It definitely, or it just in general, right? And on that note, because Femei did mention a little bit in her previous topics, I want to bring Femei back up to share some more. Like, Femei, how do you feel about being a woman in the financial field?
Well, like Mai mentioned, the financial field. Well, it's obvious. Everyone can see, even on television, in movies. If you go to your local bank, oftentimes these high positions are held by, Caucasian men, right? Very few minority, especially women, right? Now, because we are business owners in World Financial Group with Transamerica, right? We get to control what title that we want to work for, right? The next promotion that we want to work for. So for example, Hani just got promoted, super excited for her, right? Because she decide and controls her own promotion. And Chen-Ping talked about how she earned, over 22,000 in 1 month, in the month that she gave birth, right? We as women can control our own income and our own growth with our company's platform. World Financial Group is a fair, level playing field for everyone. Doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter your ethnicity, right? As long you are a hardworking person, someone who likes to learn and loves to help people with passion, then it's a very rewarding career to go into, financial field. I've mentioned that I was in healthcare, right? There are so many Asians in healthcare. I'm ready to move to the financial field, right? Because there's too little representation. That's why, and as because of that, and we're very hardworking, that's why we do well here. Hopefully that answers the question and gives more women out there, moms out there, a better insight in this industry. Okay, very, very rewarding industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Femei. Now, I see that almost all of our panelists here today actually became moms through WFG. And so I want to ask, how was your transition to it? And I want to pose this question towards Chen-Ping, because I know we shared a little bit earlier, but I definitely want more of that story. There's a lot more to it.
Oh, well, Xiaojing, thank you for bringing me up. You know, if we want to talk, we could talk about days because they're, you know what they say, when you put mothers together, there's so much that they could talk about. It could go nonstop, right? Um, I would say, yes, in short, I would say mindset over everything. Definitely mind over matters. You know, it wasn't easy, but it was definitely so worth it. I think that's really the bottom line I want to talk about. If I were to give tips, I would say, you know, uh, try to, you know, work on personal development. If you know, read books, for example. Personally, recently, due to COVID-19, I'm actually doing something different, and I'm working on more personal development because I feel like there is a need. And I've been, you know, I've been running this 8 a.m. club. We know that it takes 21 days to change a habit and 90 days to change a lifestyle. Personally, I'm actually on my second cycle for 90 days straight on 8 a.m. meetings, right? I get to meet up with my team of people, and we get to share how to get started with early morning, you know, being grateful. What are we grateful for? All of that. So it's definitely transformational. But I'm glad that I'm over that stage where in the very beginning where it wasn't easy. I gotta say I would say that the part that was traumatizing for me, if I were to be to have another baby, is I never want to be in a situation where I'm driving to my appointment and I'm pumping my milk while I'm driving. That is the most traumatizing moment ever in my life, and that's why if you were to ask me to have another baby, I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I would say COVID-19 is a little bit different. You know, it's different. Like she's home and she could do something different. So, anyways, that is something traumatizing I went through, but it was so worth it, right? It was so worth it. Other than that, I think everything is smooth because I have so amazing support, all that. I think no questions asked. I'm happy and I'm grateful. Thank you. The floor is yours, Xiaojing. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Actually, on just on that note, I'm glad you're happy because I know for sure your kids are happy. Their sounds, their joyous laughters is just always amazing to hear, right? And now I want to bring up one more person, and this is my first time introducing this lady to you guys on this Zoom call today. And what I do want to go back a little bit, piggyback off of what May said, that this platform is amazing for people who are just so kind-hearted, really just out there to help people, because this person that I'm bringing up, that's basically who she is. If I walk down the street, I always hear good things about her. Quinn Yu, anytime you mention her name, more than likely the people in our community especially will recognize her, will know right away who she is, because Quinn, she goes out of her way to make sure she's able to help you. And this is something, just a trait I admire her from her so much. And so now I really want to ask you, how do you feel being away from your children while working sometimes?
Wow, thank you, Xiaojing. You know, you speak really highly of me. Thank you so much. So before, you know, I have a couple of slides to share. I think one thing is that you know, I'm able to do the business, you know, and take care of family because I have a great family support, right? You know, my mom take care of my daughter. Yeah, let me share with you guys, you know, a little bit more about myself and, you know, uh, so you guys can understand more about how to do it, right? So I actually came from a restaurant and a driving teacher background, you know, if not because WFG is a, you know, fair level playing field, I don't think I will have the chance to be in the financial industry, right? I am actually, you know, licensed for almost 5 years now in this industry. And I also, you know, become a 50K watch earner at the when my daughter was born, right? June 2019. So that was, you know, one of the milestone that I was able to achieve. And you know, this is picture of my daughter. She's 21-month-old right now, right? Almost turning 2. And I think uh, the way that, you know, I'm able to manage the business and family together is that because my daughter, you know, is on the, you know, is being taken 100% taken care of by my mom, right? And that that helped me able to focus on the business, right? And also I have great support, you know, my families, they are great support. You know, my dad, my brother, and my husband. So my husband actually got his license in our industry last year. And my brother, you know, he's one of the flag carrier in my business, right? So, you know, I'm so happy that I'm in the WFG is kind of like a family business to us, right? And also, um, you know, because our family believe in protection, believe in financial planning so much, you know, we have different accounts from different companies, right? And, you know, we have life insurance, right? We have retirement plan, we have college planning set up for my daughter, right? And, you know, and I am someone who's, you know, really believe the crusade of our company. You know, our company, we don't want to be the biggest company, but we want to be the most influential company, right? That's why, you know, I am so gung-ho about, you know, join, own, and share, right? And just to share with you guys a little bit, last month, February of 2021, I actually hit my highest income in 1 month, right? I make over $13,000 in the month of February, and I also got 2 bonuses last month. So I am so glad that I am in this industry, and you know, I have great support, and I am able to do well in this business, right? So that's all I had to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Quinn. Thank you for your stories. And actually, I want to definitely just say a little bit more because as you can hear from Quinn, right? She took she turned crisis into an opportunity. She got her promotion despite the pandemic and everything, just the same like Hani did, right? So these two women are just so amazing. And I want to bring Hani back up again, just because her story is just slightly different or very different. And I don't want you to miss out on this because she's actually worked with the government while being a mom, right? And so I want to hear about that. How did that feel while you're working?
Thank you for the question, Sao Jing. So yeah, working with it's not only I was working with government, but also I was working for a nonprofit organization, right? So it's more to kind of like traditional uh, career mother, right? That like you need to stay at home in the evening with the kids, and then during daytime you work from 9 to 5. But unfortunately for the mother, it's like we never off duty, right? It's always like works. It's always 24/7, and lots of time. I remember when I was working with the nonprofit organization, I was very lucky because back then I have my mother staying with me, so it's like packing for a picnic, right? I carry my baby, pack him up in the car with my mom. We have the breakfast, the snack, the lunch, and also almost dinner. You know, kids, they always have like things to eat, and pumping the breast milk, right? So it's always like packing for a picnic. It's just like so much thing to packing. And then during the working, it's always like, oh, I need to check with on my mom and on my baby. And I was so lucky because like the nonprofit that I was working is actually a women's lead nonprofit. So they always have a room for me to breast pump and also for my kids to sleep. Right. But what really make a big difference was really the the hours, right? It's so different when we working now, when I'm working now with the COVID situation and also with financial business now. I have much more flexibility because I could be at home and I could arrange my own schedule. Different with when I was working with the government and with the nonprofit, the schedule was set, right? If we have a meeting on certain hour, doesn't care that your baby crying, doesn't care that like I need to go to pump, right? You need to attend the meeting, and you need to kind of like meet with the client, you need to meet with the executive director, or you need to meet with constituents. That's what really hard. And lots of time, the work also, the way I worked back then with the nonprofit and the government, uh, even though they have a set what do you call that, set salary for me, but the hour is not set, right? Because once you hit certain level, once you hit like the supervisory level or at the director level, sometimes you need to work over the weekend, right? And that's what really make me sad, because a lot of time my husband was off on the weekend back then, and also my kids doesn't at home. I cannot be there with them. I need to work, and I need to spend a lot of time and not with them, right? So the flexibility, as my mention with the financial business, we could do our own scheduling, we could have the lifestyle that we want. That's what make a big difference, right? A big difference than traditional working for a company or for a corporate or for a government or other things. That's what really I really value nowadays. Thank you, Sharjing.
Thank you, honey. So, um, actually, we're coming to the end of our session. Thank you all to the mompreneurs on the Zoom and sharing with everyone here. You're all so encouraging and inspiring. I love hearing your stories. So for everyone who's on here, if you're interested in learning more about the strategies and the career opportunities, please make sure to get in touch with the person who invited you to this event today. They wanted you to hear this for a reason, right? And so thank you all for joining. I hope everyone have a nice evening, and great job, everyone.
Thank you, Xiao Jing.
Good job.
Happy Palm Sunday, everyone.
Happy Women's Month, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Happy
Enjoy
Sunday.
your rainy Sunday.
We're not gonna party. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your party champagne.